Nelson County students and staff are not in school today after the district canceled classes last night, but they are together walking the streets of Bardstown. The decision came just hours after hundreds of Thomas Nelson students and teachers walked out of class Wednesday protesting a potential merger with Nelson County High School. Then more than 200 of the district's teachers called out. The superintendent sent a letter to parents saying schools would not be able to safely operate with so many absences, and students are feeling the sting too.
Just because we're not teaching or doing whatever, it still matters because we're the ones that have to sit through the education and deal with the fighting and all that.
Students and teachers disagree with the decision the board made Tuesday night to move forward with a community campus plan that would merge Thomas Nelson High School into Nelson County High School. They believe it'll cause friction between the two student bodies, athletics, and take away individual opportunities to succeed.
Our clubs are going to get larger, so it's going to decrease our opportunities and our voice in a way, because a big part of clubs is being able to represent yourself and hold yourself on your own.
I think there's a lot to be gained from having all of our resources on one campus, and our most precious resource being teachers.
Now, as of right now, there is no clear timeline for that merger. The next board meeting is scheduled for November 14th at Boston School in Nelson County. We are there at this moment for that second day of walking out. We'll continue to update the story on WHAS11.com as well as that free news app. The Brooks Houck murder case file is growing today. More than 100 new documents were filed in Nelson County Circuit Court yesterday. We're now able to see property and business records from the Kentucky Secretary of State backing up claims by the Commonwealth that Houck is a multimillionaire. We also noticed 2 items are still sealed from the public: the video recording and transcript of a conversation between Houck and his sister. The special prosecutor said that recording proves the Houck family illegally recorded grand jury proceedings. Right now, he is in the Hardin County Detention Center, charged with the murder of his girlfriend, Crystal Rogers. He is expected back in court in February. Now on to Ford, where the local strike effort is leading new layoffs. The company says it told 150 employees at the Sterling Axle plant in Michigan to not come to work today. This is because the plant normally produces parts to ship to the Kentucky truck plant, which is now on strike. Ford said more than 19,000 people have been impacted by this. KTP employees walked off the job 8 days ago, while the United Auto Workers targeted strikes on September 15th. Right now, downtown Louisville is struggling with vacancies, but Mayor Craig Greenberg believes he may have a way to repurpose some of these buildings. Our Connor Steffen and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie explain.
Greenberg wants the Kentucky General Assembly to give Metro government $30 million to help flip unused downtown office space into residential apartments to ideally surge activity in the business district.
I think the mayor has pointed out that we're losing workforce age people to other cities.
Rebecca Flashacre with Louisville Downtown Partnership says about 20% of downtown's vacant spaces could be easily redeveloped.
If you could work from anywhere in the world, why not work in Louisville, Kentucky? It's affordable, it's easy to get around, your quality of life is high. Easy access to government officials.
The mayor, who in private life helped develop the 21C hotel chain, also proposed flipping spaces into hotel and entertainment properties.
I believe it is his wheelhouse. Development is it. As long as you got the foundation there, I think you'll be successful.
David Nickleys with Nickleys Development has been sounding the alarm about downtown, upset that LG&E is leaving its downtown tower.
We need those people. We need daytime and nighttime population downtown.
He believes the city can't begin working on redevelopment until it solves another major issue.
Perception is we're an unsafe city. So we've got to do something bold, acknowledge that we're perceived that way, and say what we're going to do to fix it, and then fix it.
In Louisville, Connor Steffen, WHAS11 on your side.
Mayor Greenberg is also asking the state for $22.5 million for the proposed community care campus. The city wants to turn a block of unused buildings in the Smoketown neighborhood into a resource for homeless people. The plan includes family housing and a small medical facility to help people leaving the hospital. The city has not yet awarded the contract to operate the facility, but Greenberg said if they do get this money, the plan will be a success. Bidding for the project ended on August 11th, and 3 groups submitted proposals. Some other things he's requested: $35 million to help fund infrastructure improvements throughout the Derby City. He'd also like the legislature to allow Louisville to make its own gun laws, like destroying weapons, requiring background checks, and allowing red flag laws. He's pushing state lawmakers to pass a wiretapping law to combat gang violence, and that we'll dive more into in our next half hour. And of course, all of Mayor Greenberg's plans hinge on what comes out of that next legislative session. That's slated to begin in January. Well, right now there is a boil water advisory for some customers with Sellersburg Water Company. We're told that valve on Allison Lane failed yesterday. It was repaired and water service restored. But with that comes that boil water advisory for 48 hours. Louisville Metro Emergency Services just lost a paramedic who died unexpectedly. Paramedic Don Shear was a tenured paramedic who dedicated decades of his life to the residents of Louisville and Mount Washington. A GoFundMe account said he had a massive stroke. He was a dad to 3 kids, and his colleagues said his last act of service was to donate his organs so others could live their lives. Louisville EMS said it'll share details on arrangements once they are finalized. Cameras are now allowed inside the courtroom for the Delphi murder case. Richard Allen is being transported from Westville Correctional Facility to the courthouse later this afternoon. Judge Francis Gull said cameras would be allowed to partially protect Allen's constitutional right for due process. Today's hearing comes amid many controversial issues in that case, including a leak of crime scene photos, ritualistic killer claims, and alleged misconduct. Richard Allen is charged with murdering Abigail Williams and Liberty German, who disappeared while walking the Delphi Historic Trail back in 2017. After returning from his trip to Israel, President Joe Biden stressed America's strong support for its closest Middle Eastern ally, but also said he'd been very blunt with them, warning the Israelis not to take actions that could spark a wider regional conflict, and also stressing the need to allow water, food, and other much-needed humanitarian aid into Gaza for the millions of Palestinians suffering from this war. ABC's Inez Del Catera continues our coverage from Jerusalem.
Following his meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Wednesday, President Biden acknowledged Israel has been badly victimized, but stressed that they needed to allow in humanitarian aid to ease the suffering of millions of Palestinians trapped in Gaza.
If you have an opportunity to alleviate the pain, you should do it, period. And if you don't, you're going to lose credibility worldwide.
Biden says he got no pushback from Israel on providing aid. Egypt also agreeing to open the Rafah crossing along Gaza's southern border. But the badly damaged roads at the crossing are slowing those efforts.
The road needs to be repaired and checked, but there are trucks lined up and ready to go, and we expect those to move in the next day or so.
Israel Defense Forces launched thousands of retaliatory airstrikes following the October 7th massacre of Israelis by Hamas terrorists who murdered more than 1,400, injured thousands more, and took nearly 200 hostages, including some Americans. Israel vowing to eradicate Hamas. Amid the violence, the death toll in Gaza and other Palestinian territories continues to rise. Officials there say more than 3,500 have been killed and more than 13,000 injured. Palestinians digging through the rubble to rescue these children trapped in their beds after an Israeli strike. ABC News has been following the story of Tala, a young Palestinian woman who says her family are now seeking shelter in a Gaza hospital.
We will go again to the hospital at night and spend the whole night there. And when it finishes, and when the sun rises, we will return if we were alive.
Anger growing following an explosion at a Gaza hospital, which, according to Palestinian health authorities, killed hundreds of civilians. The Hamas-run health ministry claims the hospital was hit by an Israeli airstrike, but Israel says they've reviewed intelligence and aerial footage that proves the group Palestinian Islamic Jihad was responsible.
And President Biden will deliver an address to the nation this evening to update Americans on the U.S. response to the Hamas attacks in Israel. He's also planning to address the war in Ukraine. Inez Del Catera, ABC News, Jerusalem.
And as she just mentioned, that coverage with the president's address to the nation is happening tonight. You can watch it right here live on WHAS11 beginning at 8 p.m. And a note, regular Thursday night programming will slide, so it'll be shown in its entirety following the president's address.